Real JP Multimedia, proud sponsor of the Nerdball podcast. Here to help you with all things audio, video, graphics, photo, web design. From weddings to real estate, commercial business to private use, we offer a big variety of services for almost any budget. And if we can't do it, we will find someone who can. Find us at realjp.com. That's REELJP.com. Real JP Multimedia.
Hi, this is Evy Jarret.
And Andrea Fix. And
this is the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
Oh, that was great. That was awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
I don't know who made the initial post. I don't know if it was you, right, that made that initial post. And I just, I don't even know what the post was about, but I saw that either you guys were doing something or looking for donations or something. I couldn't remember quite what that post was, which originally kicked us off.
I like to take advantage of the Marketing Monday posts for the Perrysburg Facebook page. So I like to every once in a while just promote Scrap for Art and what we're about and just let people know. I think it might have been holiday sale, or we have some upcoming child workshops during Christmas break.
Yeah.
So things like that I like to promote on the Perrysburg page.
Okay. And we'll definitely get into your Scrap for Art, because that's why I wanted you guys here to begin with. I want to help you with promoting that, and the first thing I knew or ever heard of was that post, so it worked right for that purpose. But what I do here is the first question I'll ask both of you. I usually ask, what is something you're nerding out about, something you're really into lately, something that is a TV show or games or books or something you're just into that isn't your job, something just to step outside of that, something that occupies some free time that you have that you enjoy doing just on the side.
Well, so Scrap for Art is a volunteer project for me.
Okay,
So
all right.
Very much that's one of the things I nerd out about on a regular basis. Takes up a little bit of time for both me and Andrea, as well as our other volunteers. Aside from that, I love to garden. There's a lot of intersection between the kinds of saving and trying to do good for the earth between gardening and Scrap for Art. So
I went to school for landscaping. I work for the Metroparks, so I like gardening too. The only reason I have green grass is because I have kids that need to run around. Otherwise, I'd have beds everywhere. I have raspberries and strawberries and pear trees. I have so much stuff in the back, but I'm limited because I was like, well, I still want my kids to be able to enjoy their backyard. So that's awesome. Is that something you've always been into, gardening?
it's grown steadily. I grew up in the country. My mom and dad were very hardcore gardeners and would raise really like a couple acres of a vegetable garden every year.
Oh, wow.
So it's very much in my blood.
Yeah.
And it continues that sort of love for nature and being part of it. I actually am one of the volunteer trail patrol people for
Oh, are you?
Metroparks. Yeah,
where are your
that.
parks?
I do the downtown parks.
Okay.
Because I work downtown.
All right. Yeah, that's the parks that I run. I'm the supervisor down there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So Glass City, Manhattan, Middle Grounds.
Yep.
Those are the parks that I run. Wow, what a small world. Have we, and I apologize if we have met. I don't know if we've met before.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, because I've run into VTP out there before.
I do the very early morning. I start as soon as the park opens.
Oh, okay, so, I'm usually in my office till about 8 o'clock. Yeah. So, wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. That's a huge help for us. We can't always get to the trails and stuff. So to have people out there to see things that we might not always see,
Well, it's one of those things that gives back to the person who does it more than I think we give to the parks.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
It's definitely something that I love doing.
Well, I know. Well, you must get a lot out of it because I know we do. So I'm glad. Thanks again, Andrea. What about you? What is something that you've been super into?
Also gardening.
Oh, nice.
I like to concentrate on native plants and my milkweed for the monarchs.
Yeah.
My yard at my house, which is now an Airbnb, I've taken the whole front yard out, and it is crazy town, Jumanji, as my fiance calls it. So there's a lot of native plants, and just helping pollinators and things like that.
That is the one thing, because we talk about that at Metroparks. Even we have natural resources department, and that is the one thing I'm not good at, like knowing what native plants are. Like I went to school and I know like a bunch of herbaceous plants and woody ID and all that stuff, but I don't know a lot of native stuff besides the milkweed, the stuff that's real like popular. But that's something that's very interesting to me, because I know my crew, like they want to do more of that stuff, and they want to like, and the Metroparks in general, like they want to do more native stuff. Was that something like you grew into, or from the beginning you're like, I want native stuff, and I know my yard's going to be a jungle. This is what I want.
It started, I worked at 577 Foundation, and from there I did the Master Gardener volunteer program. And then I went to school at Owens for urban agriculture. And so just the snowball of, learning more and more.
Yeah.
And then I worked internship at the Wood County Parks in their native plant greenhouse. So that's where I really got to know more native plants and where they should be planted and, all that. So
I went to Owens too for landscape turf grass management. But I really, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I flipped through a catalog and I had two things. It was X-ray tech and landscaping. And I was like, well, I don't want to be inside. So I guess this is what I'm going to do. But I'm so glad I did it. That was, I think I graduated in 2011. But it's like been so helpful, like to getting my 2-year degree and, along the way, like learning all these new things. But I coach football at Perrysburg, and I always talk to the seniors and ask them what they want to do or how their lifestyle is going to be. And I try to push some of that stuff that seemingly like Penta or a 2-year college that, a lot around kids around Perrysburg, they're like, I got to go to a 4-year school. That's just what I got to do. But I like these other things, and to learn about other people who do that stuff, to kind of highlight it like, hey, there's different ways to get to different places. And, you don't always have to do what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Yeah. So Andrea, have you always been around this area?
Yes, Perrysburg native.
Yeah.
Been here my whole life.
Okay. So you graduated from Perrysburg? And,
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. 2002.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yep.
I was 2000. What was I? 2003.
Okay.
Yeah. So we probably saw each other. We just didn't know it.
Well, I grew up right down the street on White.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
My wife grew up. Her parents still live here, actually, 2 houses down.
Oh,
so yeah, her name is Andrea, also, just spelled differently. Wow, this has turned into such a small world podcast.
Yeah. Small world of Toledo.
So did you, like most Perrysburg kids, I feel like they want to get out of Perrysburg. Did you ever have that feeling? I mean, clearly it didn't happen. I just didn't know like if that was something in your mind.
Sort of. I like traveling, but I just love the city here.
Mm-hmm.
I love just the quaintness of it, although it's growing like
A lot.
so fast
Yeah.
before my eyes. It's losing that, but it's just I'm comfortable. I can walk down the street and say hi. Hey, how are you? And just it's one of the best hometowns rated. So yeah, but eventually I'll probably move west.
Yeah.
Like after the kids are out of school.
What's your draw out there? Just to be out more by mountains and nature, and just be vast amounts of land, and not people complaining about the lines at Culver's and
Yeah.
the chicken joint canes.
Chicken traffic.
Yeah, chicken traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister, she just moved out to Oregon, and she's traveled a lot. Her husband is a wind turbine tech, or has been, so they've traveled to many states, and just branching out and getting to know a different area, and more nature, trees, whether it's water or little less flat land.
Yeah. Have you ever been to, when I first started with Metroparks, I worked at Providence Park. Have you ever been out there to see the dam and stuff out there? Because I had no idea it existed. And the first time I went there was the day before I started. And I was like, oh my gosh, this place is awesome. And going along the towpath and everything. It's like a different, especially during the season when all the trees just are full of leaves, you kind of don't know where you're at. It's like a different just a different place.
Yeah.
It's really cool. If anybody gets a chance to check out Providence and walk that towpath, maybe not so much in the winter. It's a little chilly out there, but it's really cool then too, especially if you get a warmer day. Evy, what about you? Have you always been in this area? Did you grow up here?
Nope. I grew up in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Met my husband when we were in school, and I moved up here a couple years after I graduated, and we got hitched.
Yeah.
So been here ever since.
So you grew up in Kentucky.
Yeah.
What was your home life like? What did you do, or was it a farm? Was it a city? Like, what did you enjoy?
I lived pretty far out. Our closest neighbor was maybe a half mile away.
Okay.
And the closest town was Murray, which is an OVC. Well, it was OVC. I think maybe it's shifting now. I'm not a sports person. So Murray State.
Okay.
That's like 15 miles away from where I grew up.
All right.
So, yeah, I went to school, met Bill, and then I think I can say I'm from Toledo now.
Yeah.
I've been here a long time.
The only thing I know about my sister lives down there, and I only know Louisville because that's where she lives at.
I lived in Louisville for 2 years after I got out of law school and loved it.
Yeah,
It's a great place.
She's pretty hippy dippy, and she all the places she'll take us to is like, man, this is totally Misty. Like all her friends she makes and the things that she does and like all
Love
this
that.
stuff. Yeah, it's really cool because I don't go like I don't. It's cool to see that stuff. It's just not something I am drawn to. But when she shows me these things, I'm like, man, this is cool. Or oh yeah, I use this for this remedy or whatever. Like it's cool to see these other things that I don't think about.
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit of an offbeat, not quite your franchise model of a community.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's nice.
Except the name of their basketball arena is the Yum Center now. So
That's true.
That always makes me laugh. I think it's I don't know if it's KFC or some right? Yeah. So it's called the Yum Center.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's funny. So you moved up here to Toledo and you've been here for a while now. What brought you up here?
Well, the marriage.
Okay.
When I moved up, I started working for a law firm. Had kids, and really the children actually sparked scrap for art in some respect because along the time that my children were young, I was, of course, trying to be a good mom. I would buy art kits, and you would get a nice, colorful box and various items within that box. And the goal literally was to create what was on the box. So kind of a very limited range of creativity. The idea is to produce something that looks exactly like what all the other kids produce. And then you've got all this packaging, you got all this stuff, and it just struck me as being really out of sync. Not really. There's certainly a place for kids. It's great. I ask for paint by number kits for Christmas so that I can sort of start doing something fun again. But it's nice to see when people take things that are everyday objects and transform them into something unexpected. So I had been to these kind of reuse centers in other states and looked hard for one in Toledo, and the closest was in Ann Arbor. So I thought it would be fun to try to start something. I mean, honestly, the original goal was I sort of had in my head, there are a lot of churches, they have a lot of basements, they have closets. We could have a little closet in a basement of a church. And it would be great. And, once or twice a week, we could have somebody come in and staff it, and they could be a little clearing center. But we have, I don't know, what is it? Maybe a 2,500 square foot facility now.
Where is it at? In Perrysburg?
It's in Maumee.
Maumee, okay.
Yeah, it's on Wayne Street in Maumee.
Okay.
It's got part of it is a little bit like a Michael's. You walk in and you see bins of yarn and papers and some paints and things like that. You can go into the garage half, and that's where people who are truly artistic can give birth to some new ideas, because there's a lot of interesting, fun things in there.
Well, I know with my kids in school that at the beginning of the year, like, hey, we're going to be doing this project. Can you guys save your paper towel rolls or save milk jugs or save whatever? And I don't think about it like, okay, well, they want to do this thing. But a couple of things. Obviously, reuses objects, but also for the teachers, they're already like buying a lot of extra stuff that they can't afford. So like helping them do that. But I think it's such a cool idea to have this scrap for art. How did it come about? I know you talked about it with your kids, but who was like the catalyst? Like, hey, this is gonna happen.
So there were a group of 4 of us. Myself, my sister Jennifer Jarret, who is the deputy director of the Arts Commission, and a couple other people who had children my kids' ages. Mm-hmm. So we got together, we did the initial planning. We went ahead just because it seemed like the sensible thing to do, and got our certification as a nonprofit organization. We did all that kind of paperwork that sometimes is a hurdle for people who want to organize a nonprofit. And that was 16 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's been around a little while.
I don't know if that's. I feel like I feel bad. Like I should know about that. Like it's been around a while, and it seems like it's an awesome thing. But maybe that's why taking advantage of the Marketing Mondays will help people, right?
Andrea is doing an awesome job doing things like that. I, of course, don't have that marketing bone in my body. So it's nice when somebody else can take the idea and run with it. And that's one of the things that I think that's when a board, a group of volunteers really work effectively, is when people have different strengths that they draw on. Andrea also, she's an amazingly committed volunteer and does the hard standing at the table while the kids do the project at different fairs and festivals.
Like, don't put glue there.
Or do. I don't,
However it works for you.
just don't eat the glue.
There you go. So how long have you been involved and how did you get started?
I'm a newbie on the board. It's been 2 years, maybe, if that.
COVID years, though, so hardly any time at all.
Yeah,
I wanted
just
to stay around for everything like that.
Coming out of COVID, I've been a long time shopper at Scrap for Art, and it's been a place I've always loved. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm like a thrifter. I like to dig, so it's like a treasure hunt there. And for the people listeners that have been there, they know what I'm talking about, of digging and finding. And I mean, you name it, we have it. Whatever project I want to make a owl out of scrap pieces, that's your place to go.
Yeah.
But they had a post looking for board members, and I thought, I have extra time. I should give back to the community. I should give back to an organization I feel I could contribute to and I'm passionate about. So it's been great. Like Evie said, everyone brings something to the table. So while I'm not a financial, budget person, I'm not a grant writer, but we have all the members that are doing those types of things. So I enjoy going to Owens or going to the Girl Scout Expo and making bugs out of plastic bottle caps with little kids and promoting us. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that the best boards, and I think you said it, Evie, is like if you have a diverse group of people, then it's just going to bring diverse ideas. And are they all going to be winners? No, but at least maybe one shoots off another one that is a winner, and people use that. But I think that's where you get the most out of a board or an organization or anything, right?
And I would say too, just having fresh board members brings not just fresh ideas, but fresh energy that may take an idea that I had and tried, and it wasn't successful. That new person may have pretty much the same idea, but have a fresh take on it and a fresh dose of energy that really gets it up and running. So that's always wonderful to see.
Well, that and the that same thing, always the phrase I hate the most is we've always done it that way, or we've tried that and it didn't work. Like, okay, well, what does that matter? But like you said, like it could be the same idea, except it changes this 1% of it, but now it takes off.
Yes.
So always try things, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Can you, Andrea, explain for someone who's never been there, if someone's going there for the first time, they hear this episode of my podcast and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go check it out. Can you explain what it is and what people can expect when you walk in there? Let's just say they're shopping.
Well, so first of all, Scrap for Art is a nonprofit, and we take recycled goods and resell them to the public. It's a great place if you're a homeschool teacher, an art teacher, a Girl Scout teacher, just a creative person that maybe doesn't want to shop at your big box, craft stores and shop local. But you go in there and there's like different departments. There's yarn, there's scrapbooking, there's jewelry, beads, lots of fabric, any gift wrap, cards, ribbons, party supplies. I'm having a dinosaur themed party for my 8-year-old. We probably have stuff that you could use or make. And then we have a whole like other bits and pieces like corks and old computer parts, wood crafts. I mean, you could build a robot. You could. It's really endless.
Sure.
And it's fun. We will have host like we had a Girl Scout troop that came in. There's a build a robot badge that didn't exist when I was a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
But they all came in and they shopped for their robot supplies, and then, at their next meeting made robots.
Wow. So
like, cool.
so you take donations of things? Are there things that you don't take, or people like something you see on a regular basis that you have to turn people away?
Yes, we have actually on our website, there's a huge list of things we do take and things they're highlighted. I think different colors of we really would love to have more of this and not so much of this anymore. And we're very limited on space and storage, so we do have to turn away, unfortunately, a lot of stuff. But we're always looking for odd things, interesting things.
What do you think the most interesting thing is that you guys ever took in? Like something that you're like, oh, we've never seen this before and we've never seen it since.
Well, so when I first started Scrap for Art, we had a few blue barrels that I'd gotten from maybe the city had donated. It was some government agency that
like the big 55-gallon drums.
Yeah. Okay. So we had these big drums, and they're lined with trash bags, and so they're slowly getting filled up. And we're getting kind of the things that you would expect. A local company had a bunch of misprinted plastic bottles, and so they sent them to us. We had a person come in who had, I think it was 250 pounds of not blue jeans, but zippers that had been cut out of blue jeans. And I saw this stuff and I thought, I don't know what we're going to do with this. But frankly, this was a reporter. And it's a new organization. So I was like, of course. I'll be glad to take these blue jean zippers. And what was really amazing to me is that we have a member of the board who had the vision of taking those zippers and turning them into some beautiful jewelry. So she cut off most of the fabric that surrounded it, used just the teeth, and made some very striking designs into belts and pins and things like that. It was really cool. So
I was going to ask, I was like, are they still there? But it sounds like they went to work pretty quick.
I haven't seen any zippers in a long time back there.
There's zippers. Oh yeah, we have zippers. Yeah, we have. And I was like going through them, and like if you buy like a mattress pad or something, and it comes in the big plastic zipper bag, we have those. And I was like, oh, I should start doing that, cutting the zipper off of it. But the jewelry that she made with these zippers, I mean, it's gorgeous. Yeah. And the time she takes is like.
It is very time consuming, but to me, what she does is an astonishing quality piece of artwork. It really is. And it's something that I think you could walk into a very nice gallery
Sure.
and pay a fair amount of money for it. So it's really fun to see that kind of evolution from something that I thought could never be used into something that actually I have some for things and I
do you
wear
really?
them. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, so how long ago was this? Were these zipper jewelry?
That was right after we opened our doors. Was when we first got the first barrel, and maybe it's been replenished over the 15 years. But yeah.
That's cool. Well, Andrea, do you remember something? And like, because obviously you talked about zippers, and you're like, oh no, we still got them. What's something? What about you? Like when, even if it was you just shopping there, or maybe you shopping, you're like, you know what? I'm going to see if they have it. They might not, and it's just this outlandish thing. You're like, oh my gosh, they have 4 of them.
I don't know. There's so many things, and I'm trying to think of something I've used there that I've actually made something with. I mean, it's not that weird, but they're just fabric samples, and they're just nice, like suede or leather pieces. And I cut those out and made them into like 3-dimensional pins of flowers.
Oh, okay.
So I like sewed them together, made like little fringy bits and stuff. But I like to also, every time I go there to straighten up, or I always bring a bag of stuff from home. And bringing my donations in. So I actually have a box at home that has a couple pretty interesting things in it that'll be new to the store.
Do you or somebody there, do you have a inventory of what you have? Or is this, I don't know if that was something that was started, like you have this inventory so you know what's going in and out, or is it just, here's all the stuff we have, we don't know. Like, 'cause I would imagine like someone new, if like, hey, do you have, I'm looking for this, and then you can like look it up or something. I don't know if you have anything like that.
So there are some things that are on the website that we usually have a good stock on. Mm-hmm. You can look at the website and kind of shop on the website.
And what is the website? Just so
it's scrapforarttoledo.org.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So there's that option, but the best resource really is to talk to the person who works. Scrap for Art has one employee who works, I guess, probably 25 hours a month.
Okay.
And she's in the store the most, and she has a very good very good memory for what is actually in the inventory. Mm. So that's the person that you would talk to if you called the store and said, hey, do you happen to have any corks? I would love to make a bulletin board out of corks from wine bottles. And she would say, yes, we have.
We have 87 of them.
And we do.
It would be more like, we have 15 pounds of corks or whatever.
That's awesome. That, again, hearing about this like so in depth for the first time, it seems like an awesome organization. Not only to like, hey, I'm going to go shop at this place, but like for you both to volunteer on and be on boards and starting it. Like, it just seems like an idea that you would never think existed. And up until I started talking to you, I didn't, and now I think having people know what it is, hopefully like people realize I don't have to throw away all my stuff. I can take the zippers off all my jeans and, or any of that stuff where you would normally look at and just chuck away.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had a bunch of old work pants that I probably could have just said, here's some buttons and zippers, right?
We do take buttons. I think that's usually something that is very much in demand. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what it is, but
they're so versatile, I think, right?
Well, and they are used in a lot of projects.
Yeah.
Kids use them for eyes and stuffed animals, and teachers use them for stamping, and they've got a lot of different uses. So when I was more regularly in the store, it seemed like as soon as buttons came in, they would go out. One thing that sometimes happens is that as people are emptying their parents' houses or whatever, they're closing down an estate, we wind up with the button boxes that people have accumulated over a long period of time.
Everybody has a button box.
I love the button box.
Yeah.
I love the button box. So we get those in, and at least when I was volunteering inside the store, they would be gone within a matter of a week or two. They just constantly rotate out because they have so many uses.
Yeah, but I feel like with buttons, like they have a lot of uses, but like you said, people give them a lot, give them to you guys a lot too that they would have. Is there other items that you guys know of that, oh, this is super popular, we need to make sure we have them or maybe ask people for them?
I mean, we'll put on our website, generally we're out of Pringle cans.
Yeah.
Yes, we will take your empty Pringle cans. And I don't know what people, I think teachers use them a lot, but that was one of the things, call for Pringle can donations.
We get a lot of specific requests from artists or teachers who are working on a project. We did collect plastic caps for a Girl Scout troop who was trying to set up a program to recycle them into park benches or playground equipment, that kind of thing. Corks, we sometimes get requests for large quantity of corks. Papers come and go. We don't usually get requests for them, but they do go out the door, I feel like. And then the traditional art supplies. If you have people like me who start an art project and maybe get distracted by other things, those art supplies are, I think, pretty popular. So we love it when a stained glass artist brings us a big tub of stained glass. I mean, that is like Christmas morning, I think, for people.
Do you ever feel like I would think, my first thought, and maybe just because this is the type of person I am, my first thought was they're bringing you all the stained glass, and then my thought was, oh, are you giving up? Are you done? Like, I would feel bad, like, accepting all this stuff. Like, don't give up. It's
Yeah. But the thing about project people like me, by the time I'm willing to part with it, I am done.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been 10 years. It's time to let it go.
That's funny. So do you said groups and teachers make requests. Is that something, so if that's the case, then do you hold things for them, or do you, like, how does that work?
Sure. The last time I was in the store, there was a series of Post-it notes up by the cash register that said, so-and-so wants some picture frames, and so-and-so wants some mirrors, and things like that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, as they come in, we can hold them. But it's a little hit or miss.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It was interesting, Andrea, when you said Pringle cans, because like this whole time we're talking about arts and art supplies and things that could be used for art. And then, so in my head, I'm like, well, they probably don't take food-related items. But is there like a line where it's okay to take certain things? So like Pringle cans and, I don't know if you've like aluminum cans or anything like that. Like, I don't know like where that line is then.
So Pringle cans, egg cartons, what's Tic Tac containers?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe some
The
other...
Altoid
Yeah,
tins.
Altoid
People use those to
tins.
make little scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So more like food storage containers.
More packaging.
Okay.
We don't take aluminum cans or bottles, really. I mean, I don't think we take wine bottles.
Not unless somebody has...
I would imagine it's from like a big company that says, hey, we didn't put anything in them. They're misprinted, like you said about those plastic bottles. Here, you can have them. Then we didn't do anything with them.
Yeah, sometimes we would be able to take things like that subject to space availability. And sometimes we'll get a request in. When we did one of our events, we took wine bottles and painted them. And they were lovely and fun, little centerpieces. And it was perfect for our organization.
Sure.
So things like that, if we get a special request in for, we want 50 wine bottles, we can pretty readily accommodate something like that.
Is that just the board?
That's just me.
Oh, that's awesome. So along with the shopping, do you guys offer classes and that kind of stuff too?
We've done workshops in the past. More recently with COVID, it became like take-home projects. We had amazing paper artist that makes these flower bouquets out of paper. So there's a take-home project for that. That's something I hope to be doing more of in the future. We do have some kids workshops over break. A couple are before Christmas and a couple between Christmas and New Year's. Different projects that our summer camp teacher has taken on. So we also offer summer camps. But we want to work more on doing a regular like workshop time and
So right now it's kind of like, hey, next month we're going to do this thing, but you're looking towards like scheduling every week or every month on this day we're going to do whatever.
Yeah,
We would. One of the things that we used to do that was pretty fun that we haven't done in a few years is have like a weekly or a bi-weekly night when people can just come in and work on projects.
Oh,
and that
okay.
was pretty fun. We had a lot of volunteers who made things to sell in the store, aprons and cushions and things to use up the mass quantities of fabric that come through the store.
I'd say, do you ever have a time where like, hey, I know you talked about your website and how much you have an abundance of certain things. Like, hey, there's this special, you can have 50% off or whatever, but as long as you're making something right now, then come do that.
Well, so when I unpacked Christmas, we had a dozen big totes of Christmas stuff. And I'm like, this amount of storage we're using to store the stuff for 10 months, let's have a bag sale, fill a bag, $5, any of this Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
So that's, gift bags and ribbon and you name it, fabric. So hopefully it's dwindling.
It looked like when I was in last week, it looked like it had been successful in some respect. So.
Hey, well, I would imagine any amount of bags is a good success, right? Just get some of it out of there.
Yeah. So again, storage is an issue there that it just didn't make sense to be storing, this amount of stuff. Or
The thing about the holidays is that we usually do try to move things before the holiday, but then people pack their holiday decorations away, and then all of a sudden we've got people bringing in the stuff they don't want to pack up.
Oh,
so it
so
does
it's after the
replenish
fact,
it.
right?
It just is a constant level, really.
Yeah, that is a good point. You're doing these $5 bags, and you're like, great, we just got 87 more totes of this stuff.
we're pretty limited or picky with especially Christmas donations, holiday donations, but we do have we always set out the month prior to Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's or you name it, we have
Theme.
holiday specific decor and craft stuff. So
Do people ever get angry when you won't take their stuff? That would be interesting to me. Like, can you take you're not taking, and just like, guy, it's just a tote of whatever. Like, no.
Yes.
I would imagine, right?
Of
like,
course.
like people, obviously people are like, hey, I'm going to donate this stuff. And I think their number one goal is like, I get rid of it. Not like, I'm going to help somebody else. I'm just getting rid of this stuff. So when you don't take it, then it's like a slide on them. Like, well, I'm just trying to get rid of my stuff. Like, okay, well, we don't want your garbage right now.
Well, it's we are in Maumee, and so every now and again we'll have somebody drive a distance to drop off something, and it might not be exactly appropriate. So that's always a dicey kind of relationship to negotiate, I suppose. But
do you have one person like, hey, you're gonna have to talk to so and so, he'll handle you? Is there someone you pawn that off on?
Our store manager is pretty forthright, I think.
Well, you need somebody in that position when you're getting donations probably every day or every other day. You can't just be nice and be like, yeah, we'll take everything, and then you look at it like, well, we can't take that, but we got to throw it away now. Like, you still have a job to do, and you're still servicing the community, so you have to do right by them also.
Yes.
Yeah. Being with the parks, like, I don't have to deal with people that often. Sometimes renters will have issues, and I gotta like help them. But I don't mind talking to people. Obviously, I have a podcast where I talk to people, but I don't mind doing that stuff. Also, I like helping. So if I can do something to help them, whatever their issue is, so I think I would like that part of it. Be like, sorry, we can't take your 27 Scooby-Doo heads. Like we can't. There's just something in me where like every once in a while I just want to like tell people no, like we can't do that for you or help.
Any kind of retail work is very tricky, and this is ultimately that position in the store is a retail position. So Tammy is amazing about not complaining to the board about things, but I do know from I think everybody on the board has probably done a rotation of staffing the store when there was an emergency and one of the store employees couldn't do it. And from working at that, sure, those kinds of things come up, and you do have to step back and kind of think, what is the role of the organization, and why do I do this? And still, obviously, I'm still here after now 16 years. So.
Yeah. Well, you probably said that a lot. You're like, well, something's bringing me back. I don't know. But so we'll go on that. What is, Andrew, we'll start with you. What's your favorite part of being involved with Scrap for Art?
I think just mostly promoting it and honestly telling people, whether I meet an artist, I notice they're a fabric artist, and they say, hey, do you know about Scrap for Art? And now I'm smart enough to carry business cards in my wallet instead of, well, write down on a scrap of paper, our website. But and a lot of people, some people are familiar, and then they, get excited and, oh yeah, I love Tammy's so great, and I love, buying this there, or, I can get yarn for, a third of the price of what I'm paying somewhere else. But yeah, just meeting people that are familiar and then introducing people to the business is, I guess, my favorite.
I like that part. I like promoting things. Like I am a football coach. I'm coaching basketball now for the freshman girls basketball team, and even the Metroparks. Like I love telling people about things. That's why I like being downtown too, is because not a lot of people know about Manhattan Marsh or Middle Grounds even, and those have been open for a couple years now. Middle Grounds for I think almost 5. But it's cool. I think it's better when people do know about it. Like I feel better about it. Like here's this thing, check it out. And like, oh yeah, I've been there several times. It's really cool. But also the fact that when you're explaining to somebody new and then you see them there, I would imagine that's like, oh man, that's cool that you came here.
Yeah.
So that I do get like that part of it. What do you think about? What's your draw or what's your favorite part about it?
I love seeing things not go to waste. I always say that I am the absolute worst at avoiding a sunk cost. Man, I'm going to try to make something work. Try to make it work. So I love that aspect of it, that it's taking a resource and making it available to somebody who would otherwise have to spend money. And for, as you pointed out, the teachers, that could be a little chunk of change every year. But I really love when I see something that somebody has created using something and it's turned into something beautiful so that you would hardly even recognize it. Yeah. I just think that's the best experience. So that's what brings me back, is the idea that there will be another Sally who will take the zipper and turn it into something so gorgeous that I would be glad to wear it.
Yeah. Well, do you have people that will create stuff just for you guys? Like, hey, I created this thing and it's a gift to you. Or the gift to the store and it's up, whatever, there. We
have done that. And in the past, we, for a few years, we did do a jewelry. That was our primary fundraising event every year, was to have artists create jewelry using reclaimed items. Mm-hmm. And then it was auctioned off for the store. And so that's fun. And there are still people who will make we call them samples, so that we can put it up by whatever piece of scrap has come in and turned it into something great. So that still does happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we definitely have backed away from having a lot of in-store sales of finished items, because keeping control of that piece of the inventory is very difficult.
Yeah.
That we had some things that walked away.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, next time, my uncle is a photographer and he's an artist and he's done all kinds of stuff. And he would. Next time he's up here, he lives in Dayton. Next time, or in Columbus. Next time he's up here, I'm gonna definitely bring him over because I think he would really love it there, just to pick through stuff and look at stuff. Just like you said, just to go through and spend a day of looking at things that you see it and you're like, oh, this is perfect for this, and then you get home and I'm sure it's happened to you. We're like, oh, it's even better for this other thing, you know. So I appreciate you both coming out here. Coming in my dirty basement to talk to me about Scrap for Art. I will make sure to put the website in the show notes so people can click on it, check it out. Anytime you guys have something going on or you want people to find out, let me know. I'm more than happy to talk about it on the podcast. You don't have to come here and sit down to talk about it. But I want to help you guys out because I think it's really cool, and I'll definitely make a point to go out there and to see. That way I have a first-hand experience and I can let people know like what it looks like and what's there and how much. I would imagine just by you guys talking about it, just sounds fun, like you said, Andrea, just to go there and look at everything. You know. So again, thank you both for coming out on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for checking out this episode of the Nerd Ball Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're hearing this, on any of the podcatchers. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're coming at you 2 times a week now, audio and video. Check us out on all the social medias. Just search the Nerd Ball Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're out there. Gmail is the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to shoot us an email, we'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.